webinar. We'll have plenty of time for a little discussion, Q&A. So with that, I think I will turn it over to Mike Reed to start.
Great, thanks, Steve. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our webinar. Today we are going to talk about what we feel are the 10 best practices for using social media to help build your personal brand. So this talk is going to be geared towards musicians, but it's important to know that the general concepts in social media marketing are applicable to all brands and all products, whether you're a musician or you're selling computers, doesn't matter. So we're going to start with a question that I hear all the time at the Institute for Music Leadership, and that is, what is social media marketing? And it's simply the process of gaining attention and awareness through social media websites. So some popular examples are Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, the list goes on and on. So social media marketing campaigns generally revolve around creating content that attracts attention and encourages readers and viewers to share it with their networks. So to get started, I'd actually like to know a little bit more about you guys. So I am going to launch a poll here, and hopefully you guys are seeing this. So go ahead and answer. You can answer any of the following. Are you a student, teacher, professional musician, arts administrator, marketing professional? And while that's going, I just want to mention that some of you may have studied marketing in the past. If you have, I'm sure you've heard of the marketing mix, or the 4 Ps: product, price, promotion, and place. And I just want you to know that a well thought out marketing campaign is considering any and all of your promotional outlets. So nowadays, promotion usually does mean through social media, but know that it's not the only channel out there. So going into this presentation, it's important to know that social media marketing is just one of the many tools in our marketing toolbox. Okay, so I'm going to close the poll now. Hopefully, looks like almost everyone's voted. Almost is close enough. Let's take a look here. Does it pop up? Can you guys see? Steve, can you see it or no?
I'm seeing who are you, but it doesn't show.
Oh, share results. Oh, I'm a newbie. I'm a newbie at this. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, we have a couple students, some teachers, mostly professional musicians, administrators, and nobody's a professional marketer. Okay, good to know. I do see, since the majority are musicians, we're probably wondering about brand. So at this point, I'm going to toss it over to Leire, who's going to talk about personal branding.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Apologies for not having the webcam up. I was struggling with it, but like I said, I'm in Mexico City, so it's a miracle I'm here. I am a marketing professional, unlike all of you, and Mike invited me in here to bring my own touch to it, because I normally work with all kinds of clients, helping them with their social strategy, how to get their brands out there, as well as I worked a lot with sales and building their LinkedIn profiles and how to actually become get a stronger image online so they could be more successful at what they do. So what this slide is, I want to ask you all, do these ring a bell? And I'm assuming that when you look at these, you're thinking, oh, yeah, Apple or Rolling Stones, SoundCloud. Well, these are all brands. And these brands have brand associations related to them. So, for instance, Apple is high-tech, edgy, trendy, phones, Apple TV, and those kinds of things. And those associations and those characteristics didn't just appear overnight. It's something that these brands spend time and actually built to be able to become what they are and to attract their audience, and ultimately, in this case, drive sales, but it could be also drive listens to your music, drive ticket sales, etc. So as we go through this, I want you to think of yourself as a brand. And so as we talk about what steps we're doing, think about what it's going to take for you to accomplish this. So you can become just like this, and we can put a picture of you up there, and people will be like, oh, very talented, new, hip, for lack of better words. So yeah, keep that in mind.
I think people say hip, so that's okay.
Sure. That's really not what I am. So. All right, so moving on to the next slide. Number one, what we decided was the most important thing, and this is something that I brought in. It's usually used in the business world a lot, not to lose you, but it's what's used in terms of self-awareness, and it's used for personal evaluations in terms of either career advancement or goal setting. And what this is, it's a concept called the Johari window. And this is research on where most people normally stand in terms of self-awareness. So there's a range of characteristics that are known to self, known to others, the first quadrant, which that's considered the open window. That's the open information that everyone knows. Then there's the not known to self, known to others. That's your blind spot. So that's something that you need to become more aware of. And then there's what you know that others don't know. And that's your potential that you're hiding, that you haven't shown yet or they're not aware of, that you have and you need to make sure that they know about. And then lastly, unknown, that's just untapped potential that nobody knows it's there, but it's there and it'll come eventually in the future. So with this concept, what I want to bring forward to you is that before you start tackling, this posting on social media, let's go to Facebook and put this song and this blah, 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 you need to be aware of where you stand. So think about what you can do, and then think about what others know about you. So you can realize what you want to show them and what you want to make sure that they know about you so you can better strategize and plan. So which leads on right to number 2, which is set a SMART objective. So posting on social media, we have a lot of clients that come and what they do is they take and they go, okay, here are my songs, here's my content, here's an interesting article, let me just start throwing it out there and let me just post it whatever on Facebook and that's it, and I'm going to walk away and hope that this works. Well, no. What you need to do before you start is actually sit down and think, what do I want to accomplish through my campaign, through my posting, through my page, and what is it that I want to reflect? Moving on to slide 3, and then once you have your objective, which is pretty solid, this is where you start building your plan. So what I recommend doing, and what we do with clients and what people do personally as well, is create a content calendar. What I mean by that, which can sound intimidating, is actually take an Excel spreadsheet and write out, the days of the week, or write out by week, like for a couple of months, and then actually write down when your concert is or when any big event is coming up, and then think about what material you have that could promote that, or think about what you need to be doing before. So for instance, whether you need to drive attendance to an event, or whether you need to drive ticket sales, or whether you just launched a new song and you want to make sure that they hear it and you want to build up to it, plan it in a calendar. Don't just go and do it. That way you can be know what's upcoming and you can be more strategic about it, which again drives whole setting an objective, being aware of what you need to show them, and then now you have the steps to move towards that.
Oh, great. So I'm going to go ahead and launch another poll here. I am curious, which social media outlets do you guys use right now? Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, or other. And if you do have other, go ahead and just go ahead and send it to us. I'm curious to see which social media network outlets you're actually using. 58%, got a couple more. And I do see an other there. Let's see, I see Pinterest and I see websites and emails. Cool. Not everybody voted, but that's okay. I'm going to move on here. I'm going to close the poll and share the results. So, Facebook. Everybody here has a Facebook page, or a Facebook account at least. 90% are on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and then just a couple others. It's really good to know, and it's really important to know moving forward, because number 4 is be where your audience is. So it looks like I said, everybody's on Facebook. So my question to you then, and feel free to answer in the chat if you'd like, and we can talk about it at the end, but why are you on Facebook? Okay. It's an interesting question. There's literally thousands of other websites that you can choose from, other social media networks, different outlets. You're all on Facebook. Not everybody was on Twitter. Why not? Okay, and I think the simple answer it takes people to build this network. So the reason that I'm personally on Facebook is because all of my friends are on Facebook. And it's the same reason that my younger cousins are on Instagram, because all of their friends are on Instagram. I happen to be on Instagram too, but it tends to lead towards the younger demographic. So I did notice that nobody put in there that they were on MySpace. And it's an interesting thing for musicians, because 7 to 10 years ago, this was the place to be. It was the hot spot. If you didn't have a MySpace page, you were nothing. But nowadays, who's on MySpace? Nobody here. Okay. And the reason is, since you're not going to be able to market or talk to anybody, because there's nobody at MySpace, what's the point of wasting your breath? Okay. As musicians and really as marketers, and musicians probably understand this more than anybody else outside of marketing, it's really important to really understand who your audience is, who you're playing for, who's going to come to your event, who's going to come to your gig, who's going to come, buy your music, buy your t-shirt sales when you're at the gig, who are you directly trying to target a message to? Okay, and then once you have that information, that's how you can actually determine which social networks you need to be on. So, for example, if you are making some pop music, for example, and it's a real catchy tune, and you're Taylor Swift. Okay, let's say you're Taylor Swift. You're going to be on all major social networks, but are you going to be on, are you going to be targeting 65 plus on Facebook? Maybe not, probably not. Are you going to be on Snapchat, and are you going to be on Instagram and all sorts of upcoming social networks? Yes, you need to go exactly where your audience is, and so that's something you need to find out for yourself. There are some ways to figure this out. There's some interesting demographic information you can get, and I have a couple stats I want to share here from BusinessInsider.com Intelligence Report. This was actually just launched on November 4th of this year, so it's pretty new data. But Facebook, as we all know, we're all on there right now, is still the most popular social network. They're actually experiencing their most growth in age 55 to 65-year-old age range. So if you're an arts administrator targeting a continuing ed program or something for retired folks, Facebook, you want to be on Facebook because that's where these people are going. If you're targeting teenagers, it actually is still the most popular social media network for teenagers. But that being said, Instagram has sort of beat out Facebook and Twitter in terms of prestige. So what I mean by that is that U.S. teens describe Instagram as the most important social network. So if you're a teenager, you are on Instagram, and that's the place to be. So if you're marketing towards teenagers, that's where you need to be too. It doesn't matter if you're 40 or 50 years old. You need to be on Instagram targeting those kids if that's who you're selling to. Okay. Let's see if I had anything else I wanted to add that. Yes, I did. Okay. Number 1 for musicians, YouTube. Everybody who's a musician should have a YouTube channel, especially if you're a performing musician. And the reason is that YouTube reaches more adults aged 18 to 34 than any single cable television network at all. Think of any TV channel. YouTube beats them, especially in the 18 to 34-year-old range. And according to Nielsen, YouTube is rated by millennials as the top place to watch content. So millennials are watching content on YouTube higher than TV. They're watching it more on YouTube than on Facebook. They're watching it more than on ESPN.com. Doesn't matter what kind of content it is, they're seeing it on YouTube. Okay? So that's where to be. Now, once you figure out where you have to be, what do you say to these people? So it's really important to be relevant, okay? It's easy to post about anything and everything, but you really focus on the content that's going to help clarify your brand and your image, as Lady was talking about. So don't just post what you think's good. You know, it's really important to post what's going to resonate with your audience. So again, you're going to where your audience is. You're going to Instagram, for example. You want to be able to post content that's going to relate to that audience. So it does overlap with the last slide there. Let's say you're promoting an upcoming concert or event. Okay, your target audience might be spread across different age demographics. You're going to want to go ahead and take one campaign and split up where your promotion is. So I'll give you an example of something we do at the Institute of Music Leadership. We sell an online music theory course called eTheory Live, and this isn't necessarily a plug, but I just want to talk about it a little bit. It's a 32-week interactive, fully interactive online music theory course written by Professor Steve Leire at the Eastman School of Music, and it's designed to help students master basic music theory. Okay, so the content of this course is not age-specific. Traditionally, it was built with high school students in mind, but what we found out is there are continuing ed learners, basically a second market of lifelong learners who may have played an instrument their whole life, may have an extreme interest in music, but they haven't had time until they retired to follow their passion in music. So what we're doing is we're actually targeting them with different marketing messages that are relevant to that specific demographic. So on Facebook, for instance, if we're targeting that over 55 population, we're using images of people over 55 playing instruments, and we're talking to them in the language that they would appreciate. If we're talking about high school students, we're showing pictures of high school students playing instruments, maybe in a high school band, and then delivering a different type of message to those people. And it's one thing to go ahead and post all this content to everybody, but it's also really important to be active and engaged. So engaging your audience, so we've already determined that people join Facebook and Twitter to join a bigger conversation. Okay, they enjoy commenting on posts and articles and reading what others have to say. So as a musician and essentially as a marketer, when you use social media to market your brand, it's really important to lead by example and really encourage your audience to participate in these conversations, because as you grow your network, there's nothing more valuable than actually using that network to your advantage. So customer engagement is really important. And Lady and I were actually talking about this the other day, and she reminded me of the 80-20 rule in content marketing. So when we're talking about being active and engaging, we can actually go ahead and post a lot of different content, and not just selling content. So 80-20 means 80% of your content should be posts that are interesting, relevant, and engaging to your customers, but not necessarily selling anything. And that leaves you a good 20% of the time that you can sell something. So you can say, hey, go over to iTunes and download my new track that I just recorded. Or I have a gig coming up on Friday night, come on out. If the only thing you post is come out to my gig on Friday night, people are just going to get bored with that. They're not going to see it. They're just going to ignore that content. So providing them something else, maybe some interesting facts about your music or the type of instrument you're doing, or maybe you've worked with a new arranger, or you're commissioning a piece, you want to talk about that. Something that's not so pushy, you know. So being active is also an important thing. Posting just once a week probably isn't going to do it. In fact, there's been a lot of talk about algorithm changes and things like that. When you post on Facebook, the posts just get buried. So if you're posting once a week, you're not going to be able to be seen. So it's important to post often, and it's important to be timely with those posts as well. So what I mean by that is the timing of your social media content is just as important as the content itself, really. If you have a great article you wrote and you posted at 3 a.m., by 10 a.m. the next day, all the new articles have come out and yours never got seen. So it's really important to post things often and sort of keep track of what's going on in the world. So there's two pieces of this timing. Time of day, when you actually do it, and then timing in association with other things, news, local news, world events. I'll give you 2 examples here with this. They're not music examples, but I think they'll still resonate with you. And one of them is Panera Bread. Okay, they have a great Twitter campaign that they go ahead and they launch tweets, and a lot of times promoting a lunchtime feature, or they promote maybe a 10% discount around lunchtime. So if it's lunchtime, you see a tweet from Panera Bread, instantly gets you thinking about Panera Bread. So musicians can do a similar thing when they're talking about, a certain date and time that relates to something they're doing. If it's an event, it's an obvious one, but a lot of times there could be other content that you're going to post on your website, and you can be timely with your posts through Twitter or any of your social media outlets. Be right there. So another example, sort of incorporating the news and the world events, Johnson & Johnson. So we're talking about baby shampoo here. Slightly off subject, but it's it's a relative example, because what they did was they again tweeted a picture, and the picture was a little baby covered in shampoo sitting in a tub, and next to it it had text in the actual photo, and it said, "Congratulations to the royal couple on their brilliant news." So what happened was the royal couple had a baby, and now they're basically capitalizing off that baby. So it's a trending topic. Everybody around the world is talking about it. This was Johnson & Johnson's take on how do you get into that bigger picture. How do you get seen, and how do you get shared among a larger audience. So some of you are probably thinking right now, okay, this is great. I got to be on social media constantly. Okay, I have it on my phone. What do I do? There are some handy tools here, and these are the ones you're probably going to want to write down. There's one called hootsuite.com, and there's one that we use at the Institute for Music Leadership and through polyphonic.org. It's called Deliver It, so DLVR.IT. And these are third-party companies where you can link all of your social media outlets. We use Twitter and Facebook, and you can hook in just about any social media outlet into these, and you can schedule your posts, schedule them right now. So what we usually do at the beginning of the week, we'll schedule posts that we feel are at the appropriate time throughout the week. So we'll schedule, let's say, 25 posts and be ready to go. And that still leaves time for us to be out there in the real world, replying to things. Sort of a general rule is if you get a reply to one of your posts, you're going to want to respond back or retweet or communicate in some way within 3 hours. So we still do closely monitor all of the social media outlets. But we're not constantly writing and coming up with content. As we come up with content, we sort of file it away, and then on Monday, schedule that for the week. So there are some handy tools out there that are going to be able to help you do that. And then once you have everything out there, it's time to start collecting some data. So I'm going to toss this back over to Leire for the insights.
Hi. All right. Thanks, Mike. Yeah. So this part actually encompasses what I do for a living right now. And a lot of, like I went before, once you're posting, that's great. You have your objective, you have your plan, you're being timely. But that's not it. It really should be a closed loop, because think about what you're posting is actually your campaign. So it doesn't mean that everything you're posting is going to work. Or maybe something you did really worked and it was pretty awesome. So what you want to do is you want to go back to what you did and then circle back and evaluate the performance. Now when I say, look at data, look at analytics, it doesn't mean that you have to start running regressions or like tapping into statistics or back to your high school math class. It's really just going through and saying, okay, this post got this many likes, this one didn't get any, this one got like 1 million clicks, it's great. That way you can see, you can see how good your content is. Maybe there's a song that people really liked and it's trending well. Or on YouTube, it's actually a video that's getting watched all the way through. Same with Twitter. Is it getting retweeted a lot? Maybe it's going viral. These are things to take into consideration and then go back. So that way you can learn from it and you can plug it right back in to when you do it again. Now, for analytics, there's a lot of tools, but really what you need is, so if you have a company page on Facebook, which is pretty much creating a branded page, not just your personal page, should provide a Facebook Insights page, which is where you can see, you know, the demographics of your followers, you can see the posts with the likes and shares, and it's really easy to navigate through. Same with Twitter. If you have some type of company page, you can see Twitter analytics. Otherwise, there's other sites that provide just totals for you like you needed. Same with Instagram. There's something called Icona Square, which can give you totals and trends for your Instagram page, and many tools like that. So, and you don't even have to pay for it. Most of them are free. They're included. So take a look. Make sure that you're analyzing what you're posting, so that way you can learn something from it and then plug it back in. Because it might give you insights that you weren't even aware about. So if I had to tell you one thing is, don't forget to close the loop. And now,
all right, yeah, I think, is that it on the insights, Leire?
Yep, I was going to say, let me pass it back to you.
Sure. There's two questions that came up, and I think there'd be a good spot to toss them in here. Let me just look real quick. So one of the questions is, where can we find up-to-date demographic information on each of the social media websites? One of the places I mentioned was the businessinsider.com intelligence report. They just put that out. Nielsen, if you just go to Nielsen website, they have all this kind of data across the field on all social media networks. Is this something that your company does, Brand Networks?
Yep, so it's part of what we do. If you actually if you do a Google search, you'll get the latest ones right away. But they're, in general, like you said, it's pretty simple trend in terms of the type of audience. So it's usually an older crowd. I think it's the average age now hitting, it's actually baby boomers now that are the biggest visitors on Facebook. Mm-hmm. As well, then there's Instagram, which is more in the 20s, so it's like late teens to the 20s, more what's considered millennials. Pinterest is usually more women, if that's what you're trying to target. Snapchat tends to be a younger crowd, so it would be more high schoolers, college students, right along those lines. So, yep, and then Twitter usually is for latest news, is what it works best for. So if you're trying to do up to the minute or like update people during an event, that's usually what Twitter is best for, because the visibility of a tweet is about 3 seconds. So if you post it and the person wasn't online there, they're not going to see it. The chances of them digging through their tweets to read old ones is very low. So keep that in mind, that it's usually for up-to-the-minute events and to keep people updated. So it really depends on your purpose. That being said, if your audience is younger, it doesn't mean that Facebook doesn't work. So once you have a company page, you can actually see the demographics of your followers. It'll give you a nice graph. You don't have to even pay for it. It'll just tell you the percentage of males versus females and the percentage of each age range, and you can figure it out that way. Or you can see, I believe you can see top interests as well for some of the sites, including Twitter Analytics for any company Twitter account, as well as Facebook Insights.
Great. Let's see, there was a couple other questions. Let me just look at this one real quick. And what were the helpful tools for posting that we just mentioned? One of them was Hootsuite, and one of them was called Deliver It, which is DLVR.IT. Okay, we're going to keep going, but if you guys didn't get that information, or if you have questions at the end of this, we're still going to be available for questions, and then we'll also put down our email addresses, and feel free to contact us after this webinar tonight anytime. So we're going to move on with another poll here. Have you ever boosted a post? I noticed this was one of the questions tonight too. What about boosting posts? So I'm curious, have you guys done this yet? Yes, no, or I have no idea what boosting a post is. All right, not everybody posted, but let's see here. So about 79% of everybody on the call, 27% yes, so a few of us, a few don't know, and a bunch of no's. Okay. Good to know. Well, for this one, I just wanted to show you an example of what a boosted post is. So I mentioned these lifelong learners from our e-theory course before. And here is a good example of what boosting a post can do for you. Okay, so this is on Facebook, and this is posted as the Eastman School of Music. And we're targeting lifelong learners. And this is what they call a Facebook offer. So there's a few different things. There's Facebook advertising, which this webinar doesn't necessarily cover. But again, if you have questions on Facebook advertising, you can contact either one of us. There are promoted posts, and then there are offers. And the offer is actually a call to action built into the post itself. So it's essentially a post with this little thing in the bottom right that says get offer. And so what we can do is we can actually pay a nominal fee to have this post shown to more people. So we're basically paying for our content to be seen. And this is really beneficial for a few reasons. One, if you post it, and let's say you have 1,000 followers, okay? If you post it at noon, chances are a few of them are going to be able to see it. You know, they'll probably be on Facebook at lunchtime. You know, maybe through 10. If you're really lucky and the content is really engaging and it has a picture with some faces in it, it's really what the people are looking for. Maybe you can get up to 15 people seeing this, and maybe they'd even like it. The more people like it, the more people that share it, the better you are. So really the content that you can provide is of course going to be number one, but if you have other people and only 15 are seeing it, it's really not helping out, especially if you're promoting an upcoming event, your gig next Friday night. So what you need to do, what we do for this right here is we actually paid some money, and I think our budget on this was $7 a day, and we ran it for 10 days. So we spent $70 to promote this online course. So you can see down at the bottom here, we had 972 organic, so that means just natural reach through our network. We have over 10,000 people that like the Eastman School of Music. So through the over 10,000 people, only 972 were organically seeing this content. You know, so it's actually less than 10% would actually see this. However, we had almost 50% by paying it, so we were able to get 4,870 additional paid people to see this. And by doing that, it drives them back to our website. I think it says right on here, 33 people claimed this offer. So 33 people took advantage of our 10% off this course. So the point is, don't be afraid to boost your content. It is okay. It does cost money, but it's an investment. You know, if you're charging a certain amount of money at the door, or if you're selling digital downloads, or you're selling T-shirts at your event, you know, let's say you're selling T-shirts. You know, there's a cost to printing the T-shirt. If you're recording an album, there's a cost to recording this album. You know, people invest money all the time, and as musicians, sometimes you don't think about this kind of thing. This is simply an investment into getting people to take action on what you're looking for. So without spending a little bit of money and investing some money into your marketing, you know, you're not gonna have as much success as if you did.
Yep.
So that being said, do you have something to add?
Yeah, and I was just going to add to that one as well. Sorry. Like you mentioned, the most important point is that it's very targeted. So you're actually talking to the right people by paying for it. And at the same time, you can also optimize your ads so you drive the right kind of action. So if you set your goal to click to your page so they can listen to your music, or if they click to your page to look at your event website and then buy tickets, you can set the fee. The way Facebook works is you can set it so they charge you per click. So if nobody's clicking but they're looking at it, they won't charge you accordingly. They'll optimize for the metric that you need. So keep that in mind as well. It's one of the benefits of promoting posts. All yours, Mike. Sorry about that.
Absolutely. No, that's absolutely true. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. We could actually do maybe another webinar next year about just advertising on Facebook, because there's a lot to it. But the important thing to know is you need to do what's right for you. And, you know, so, you know, do you need to spend money? not if it's not right for you, not if it doesn't fit back to your plan. So we need to circle back to slide number 3 there was build your plan. And you really need to have everything kind of laid out right from the beginning. Okay, so social media is a powerful tool, but there's basically, it's just a small piece to this whole entire marketing funnel. So knowing who your audience is, where they are, and how you need to reach them is what's really important. So where's the slide button? There we go. Here's a, I don't know if it's as inspirational as one might hope at the end of a webinar, but this is from Jeff Bezos, who's the founder of Amazon. And branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So keep that in mind when you're branding yourself as a musician. Everything you do, the notes you play, the way you conduct yourself backstage, all says something about you as a brand. At this point, I think we'll toss it over to Steve, and if there's any questions, we'll let Steve moderate it. You guys can raise your hand or put in the questions. Steve will ask us the question, or if you want to talk, I'm sure we can unmute your microphone as well. So, Steve.
Yeah, so thanks, Mike. And just to follow up on that, if you do want to be unmuted, there's a yellow hand button on your webinar control panel. If you just go ahead and press that, we will know that you'd like to be unmuted, and we'll try to make that happen. So just to clarify again, because we did have a couple questions here about the tools that you both mentioned. Hootsuite is, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, H-O-O-T, Suite?
That's right.
Okay, so Hootsuite.
Like an owl.
Yeah. And then deliver it. Can you just spell deliver it?
Yeah, DLVR.IT. That's the website.
Great.
Kind of sounds like deliver. That's. I don't work for them. I'm sure they wouldn't like me saying that, but deliver it.
Yeah, yeah. What we'll do is we'll actually put these into the chat box and send them to everyone, so that if you look down at your chat box, we'll drop them in there for you. So we did have a couple of questions that came in before the webinar for people that registered in. So I want to mention those. And again, if you have a question, there's a question box on the webinar control panel. Feel free to type a question in there, send it in, and we'll talk about it with Mike and Leire. So a question that came in here was, can I use social media for both professional and personal purposes, or should it only be professional?
So I think you could totally use it for your social purposes. It's just a matter of, if normally you have to keep in mind that if you're using it for your professional as well, you have to think of the branding when you're using it. So you don't want to be posting, if this is your only Facebook page and this is what you're using to promote, you do want to be conscious of what you're posting. Sometimes what you can do is if you can have separate pages, which there's networks like LinkedIn where it's not recommended and it can be confusing. But in Facebook you can create a branded page, so write your band name, for instance, or it's like School of Music profile, and then you can use that to promote your posts and to run all of that. Because normally, even if you're looking to boost posts, you can't use your regular page. So it's up to you. But if it is the same name and everything, then you might want to just keep one page and just be conscious of what you're posting. But I mean, keep using it. It doesn't mean that you can't use it for personal reasons. It always that always actually helps to boost what you're doing on the site as well. Like